Dear Grace Seekers audience, today we're diving into a topic that touches the very core of our relationships, our faith, and our lives. It's about the power of true grace and courageous love. So often, we ignore tension and pretend everything is fine. But is that really the kind of love we're called to? Does true grace mean avoiding hard conversations? Or does it mean stepping into them with love, humility, and understanding? Silence only builds walls, but communication brings healing. God doesn't call us to be peacekeepers, He calls us to be peacemakers. Peacemakers lean into the hard stuff, seek understanding, and pursue reconciliation. Extending grace doesn't mean avoiding the truth. It means walking in it, even when it's uncomfortable. And that's where real healing begins. So, let's journey together today as we explore what it means to live as grace-filled peacemakers in a world that desperately needs both truth and love. Grace without communication is not what we are called to. Too often, we mistake grace for silence, thinking that if we just let things slide or avoid the hard conversations, we're doing the loving thing. But that's not love. That's fear disguised as peace. Grace doesn't mean ignoring problems or pretending things are fine when they're not. It doesn't mean smiling through the tension or hoping it resolves itself. True grace requires truth, and truth requires communication. The Bible calls us to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers. A peacekeeper avoids conflict to maintain surface-level peace, but a peacemaker steps into hard situations with love and a desire for resolution. That's where grace really shines, in the willingness to face uncomfortable conversations with humility, love, and understanding. Avoiding the problem doesn't show grace. It shows fear. True grace says, I value this relationship enough to talk about what's wrong. Jesus never avoided hard conversations. He spoke with both grace and truth. When there was sin, He addressed it. When there was misunderstanding, He corrected it. When there was division, He pursued unity. If we want to reflect Him, we have to do the same. Silence does not protect peace, it slowly erodes it. And in that silence, bitterness, confusion, and distance can easily grow. But when we communicate with grace, we invite healing. We open the door for reconciliation. We give space for God to move in the situation. It's not easy. Having those conversations can be uncomfortable and scary. But it's worth it, because true grace doesn't avoid the problem. It brings it into the light with love, patience, and a heart for restoration. So don't mistake silence for grace. Grace without communication is not grace at all. It's avoidance. And avoidance will never bring the healing that God intended. Speak the truth in love, extend grace through conversation, and pursue real peace. The kind that comes from understanding, not avoidance. That's the grace we're called to Jesus. Pride fights to keep you in control, convincing you that being right is more valuable than being at peace. But the moment you lay it down and say, I was wrong, I'm sorry, you realize it's not surrender, it's freedom. God never asked you to be perfect. He asked you to be humble. And when you choose humility, you open the door for His grace to flood in. Because grace doesn't meet you in your perfection. It meets you in your surrender. A message. Love letter. The hardest part about being wrong is not realizing you're wrong. It's choosing humility when your pride screams for control. Pride will always tell you to defend yourself, justify your actions, or explain why you meant well. But humility asks you to surrender. It asks you to lay down your need to be right and instead pursue peace. And that is terrifying, because admitting you were wrong doesn't just feel like losing an argument. It feels like losing a part of yourself. But it's not. It's actually where God does His deepest work. God doesn't require you to be perfect. He requires you to be honest. God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. James 4 verse 6. And the moment you admit, I was wrong, you don't just find peace, you find grace. You find freedom. You find God stepping in, not with condemnation, but with compassion. Because God isn't trying to humiliate you, He's trying to heal you. But that healing can't happen until you stop protecting your pride. The truth is, being wrong doesn't make you small, it makes you human. But staying wrong, that's where the damage happens. When you refuse to admit your faults, you build walls around your heart, pushing people away and hardening yourself in the process. But when you humble yourself, even when it feels humiliating, God moves. Walls break, relationships heal, peace returns. So the next time you realize you were wrong, don't fight it. Lay it down. The longer you hold onto your pride, the longer you block your own healing. But the moment you admit it, God rushes in with grace. Because in His kingdom, surrender is never losing. It's where real victory begins. Now we will pray devotion with all our heart and heart. Let's start speaking prayers behind me. Dear God, the third month of this year, thank you for granting me a new day. Please forgive my mistakes and calm my mind. Keep me safe today and fill my heart with peace. Give me strength to overcome difficulties. May this day bring new joy and opportunities. God, I love you, and I promise to pass this prayer with my friends. Heavenly Father, remove any laziness or procrastination from my mind and body. Push me to my full potential in 2025. Please turn my confusion to peace. Turn my sadness to joy. If it's not for me, remove it. If they're not for me, reveal it. Lord, protect the path I'm on and don't let me quit for nothing. God, please calm my mind, heal my heart, and take my worries away. May you grant me faith and strength. Guide me on the path of holiness so that I can be in line with your will and be with you forever. God, I am not asking for an easier life, but please be my strength. Hold me up, sustain me, and comfort me in life's storms. I need you every day, every moment, every second. As long as I breathe, I need you. I can't face this world alone. You are the only reason I've come this far. You're the only reason I keep going. Please never let go of my hand. You're all I want and need. I love you, God, and I promise to share this prayer